Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Shanevivor podcast. Today, we'll be looking at episode 7 of Shanevivor season 12, Blood vs. Water. Before we begin, you may notice that I am not Shane. I am Perrin, returning back from episode 1 of the podcast. Shane is busy for a few days, so I will be hosting the podcast until he can return. This round, we saw a lot of action happening in 2 of the 3 tribes, and finished it off with a tribal crazy enough to rival even that of Michaela's vote off. Unfortunately, our eliminated player Jack was unable to join me today, but he left me with a statement to read in his stead. I will now read his words exactly. Well, shit. I can't say I didn't see that coming, but hey, it was certainly fun while it lasted. No ill will towards anyone. Regrets? A shit ton. I really didn't get a lot of screen time, and from an Edgic perspective, I was probably getting invisible every episode, but shit, it was not a bad experience in my book. I'm really wishing luck to Daniel. He was not only my duo, but my ally. It really sucks to have gone this early, but hey, what can you do about it? I'm glad to have had this experience, and I really got nobody to blame besides myself. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Jack. Now that we've heard Jack's thoughts on his elimination, let's move on to the general discussion. For this next segment of the podcast, our guest star that will be joining us is JT. JT made his Shanevivor debut in season 11, Tides of Death, where he finished as the runner-up and received the Strongest Competitor award. As of now, that is his only Shanevivor season, but maybe that will change in the future. Without further ado, welcome in JT. All right, hello. Can you hear me? Hello? He's connecting. Hello, JT, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good.
Lovely. Yeah, so we can go ahead and just jump right into topic 1.
All
So
right.
yeah, I don't know how close you've been spectating the season or whatever. So have you been really closely watching it, or just watching it from time to time?
Time to time.
Okay, but yes, okay, so that's just good for future knowledge. But then going into
Yeah.
this episode, who are the people that you were looking at or in a very commanding position? Who are the key people at the start of this episode, in your opinion?
Um, I think Barnaby. I'm
I Yes, I have to agree with you there. Barnaby, I think, has put themselves in a pretty good spot.
yeah.
Yes, they're definitely not one of the front runners, but they are, in my opinion, one of the front runners to actually win, and they're doing really well.
Yeah. I definitely think so too.
Yes, is it just Barnaby, or who else do you see as some front runners?
Um, I think Ginger was doing pretty good. I wasn't like super closely watching, so sorry if I'm like a bit off.
Oh no, all good. Ginger actually surprises me, but Ginger has, yes, at the start of this episode, they have been improving their game a lot, because in the beginning they weren't super active they were fine, but they were just being a goat to Essence. But I think this break away from Essence has really allowed Ginger to develop into being their own player, and so that's pretty nice for them.
Yeah. I think I was reading your thing, your channel or whatever.
Yes.
I think Lazy's doing pretty good, right?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think this episode may have taken them down a bit, but Lazy is
Yeah.
definitely one of probably still in the top 3 front runners to go and win the season. Yes,
Yeah.
they are doing and put themselves in an amazing spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and now we're just gonna go through the tribes. And obviously, if you haven't been watching that closely, or you don't have anything much to say, we can skip it. But we're going to start off with the Voda tribe. So just give me your thoughts on what do you feel are the dynamics of this tribe, what your vote prediction going in if they were to lose tribal, just your basic thoughts about Voda, which is the
Uh,
blue tribe.
yeah. I checked the camps or whatever. Um,
Yes.
I think it was Ava. Her confessionals are kind of like dry, so
Yes.
like I'm not really liking her right now.
I think almost all of the people on blue tribe have been fairly dry. There hasn't been a lot of action happening over there, which
That's true.
is unfortunate, but yes, Ava definitely appears to be the one that's least active and maybe the most likely to go next.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, definitely the Voda tribe has been really dry by the looks of it.
Yes,
Um,
we're starting off with, in my opinion, the worst tribe here. It'll only get up and more interesting as we go on.
yeah. Um, yeah, so I think this is definitely a decently dry tribe. I think it was Mal that was doing good when I read your thing. Uh,
Yes, Mal is definitely in a very commanding position there. Yes,
yeah,
Mal and that whole alliance of Mal, I think it's Mal, Amory, and Aiden are in a pretty good spot.
would would pretty much guarantee Ava's vote off, I assume.
Yes, unless there is, I guess the only thing that can happen is some crazy thing where, not crazy, but where they all decide, you know what, let's have all the newbies team up and take out the one returnee who is Aiden, as the other three are all completely new.
Yeah,
Yes, but I still believe it would most likely be an Ava vote off, but you
yeah,
never
I
know.
think so.
Yes, but there's honestly not a whole lot to talk about Voda. They're bland, they're boring. Hopefully they get more interesting in later on. So we're gonna move on to, in my opinion, the second most interesting tribe. Maybe not, maybe more, but the tribe that didn't go to tribal council, the Mijisavanna tribe. I really butchered that, but what? Maybe I didn't. We'll see. And more specifically, focusing on Jordan's blow up because there was Jordan's blow up. So your basic dynamics on that tribe, and then Jordan's blow up.
Yeah, Jordan is a very I like sorry if I'm going a bit off topic, but Jordan's a very emotional player, it seems, from what I've been watching here and from what I've seen in other orgs. He likes to
Yes.
blow up at people and express his feelings whenever he's feeling off about somebody. If somebody's being bitchy to him, he's going to be like 10 times more bitchy back at them. And I think it's kind of causing a bit of problems with him.
Oh, 100%. And this is not even his first blow up this season. He had another blow up like season or episode, I guess, 4 or 5 on the Barnaby vote out. Yes, he's a very emotional player. Yes. Do you think that will lead to him being voted out, or do you still think Allison would be the easy vote out?
I think it could lead to him getting voted out, but I think Allison like could still be the easy vote. Um, because she's like dry, and probably not playing the best, and I assume she's not really like in the most alliances here. I'm
Yes.
like I said, I'm like not super closely watching, you know.
Yes, I think
Um,
Allison is in one alliance in which she has sent one message, and that's all Allison has done.
oh my God.
They are not being the most active, but hopefully that changes. And once they get further, if they make merge, if they get to another swap, whatever happens, maybe they'll be like, oh, now we're further, let's play harder. But they haven't
Yeah,
been playing that hard up till now.
yeah.
Okay. And then last thing for the Medjugorje tribe is, I think that what who do you see as being in control of this tribe? Because I would say it's one of two people, but I want to hear your opinions.
I think it's either Barnaby or Essence is my guess.
Ooh, why do you say that?
Um, Barnaby seems to be like Barnaby, he could be getting in trouble here, but he's kind of been in control. It seems like he's with a bunch of people here. Um, I think I keep saying I think.
Yes, you're fine. Just give your opinions freely. This doesn't have to be rigid or
Okay,
whatever.
okay. Um,
Be confident in your answers.
I'm like half confident. Like half the reason I'm even on this podcast is because Jack got voted out. I told Shane I'd come on when he got voted out.
Got it. Are you close friends with Jack? Or yes.
I would say close, but we're friends.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. I think Essence isn't really in too much danger.
I
Like,
would agree with you. I think if you look at it from just not seeing anyone play at all, you'd see, oh, look, there's one original Curvavi and 4 original Voda. That seems like the easiest vote out. But I think
yeah,
Essence has positioned herself to be in a spot where she is very safe in that tribe.
yeah, I definitely think so. I think Tara's pretty good right now, though.
Yes. When I was thinking of my two as Essence and Terra,
Yeah,
because although I think Barnaby is playing a great winning game, Terra is playing a more fashy controlling game in my eyes,
yeah,
which could get her into some trouble later. But right now she's doing pretty well along with Essence. because I think those two have a tight two bond that they're also bringing along Barnaby for the ride.
Yeah.
Yes. And since you brought up Jack, what are your thoughts on how Jack played? Since you are a friend of his, just give your thoughts on Jack's gameplay.
He's gonna watch the podcast and get mad at me. Um, I don't think Jack played very well.
I,
Um,
yes, I've played with Jack before, and he's definitely played better than the other times I've played with him. I would not say this is his best appearance whatsoever.
yeah, yeah, definitely not. I don't think he played like awful, but he wasn't like super active, you know. And obviously that doesn't really sit well. I'm kind of surprised he lasted as long as he did.
Yes. I think the only reason for that is that he had only gone to one tribal before that, and he was able to
True.
hide behind the whole Jordan Barnaby conflict, so his name
Yeah,
wasn't brought up at all.
yeah, exactly.
Yes. And then do you think he would have been able to save himself like at that tribal? Do you think he would have been able to save himself at all, or was that since he was just so inactive, was he just screwed from the beginning?
I think he was just screwed, honestly. Like it could have been like perhaps flipped on to Daniel because he was being like very stubborn, but I think Jack, because he was so inactive and not very helpful, I think he was pretty much a goner.
Yes, I would have to agree with you there. There's definitely maybe something that I would say Daniel could do, not Jack. I don't think Jack could have really done a whole
Yeah,
lot, like unless he had been more active leading up to the tribal. But with that level of inactivity before the tribal, I don't think there's a whole lot he could have done.
yeah, definitely not. I think if I had to rename Jack, I would just name him Daniel's extra vote.
That's exactly what I have been referring to Jack as. But speaking of the tribal, so we had a challenge, and the Mew tribe was last episode was Kravavi, and this time they ended up losing it. So now we're going to jump into what is the very interesting part of this, and which will probably take the bulk of the time. Just the dynamics of this tribal. What the hell happened? What is going on between Daniel, Sparky, between everyone? Just, I want to hear your thoughts on the entire thing because it was a crazy tribal.
um, again, I'm like half watching, half not because I'm a little busy, but I'll try to give
Yes,
my
all
best
good.
thoughts on it.
Yes, just from
Um,
whatever you caught.
okay, okay. So we have, I think Daniel was originally going to vote with everybody and take out Jack, but he was like,
Mm-hmm.
Jack's my friend. I don't want this guy going out. Plus, he's like my extra vote. So he tried to save him last minute, but it didn't really work out, obviously, because Jack ended up getting voted out. Um, but I think really what happened is Daniel kind of soured his relationships with other people.
Yes, definitely.
Um,
Him going out of his way to try and save Jack has definitely, in my opinion, worsened his game, which I don't think it's to a point where he can't dig himself out of it, but it's definitely not in a great spot right now.
yeah, exactly. He's definitely not in an amazing spot, and it's not like he can't get out of it, but it's definitely going to be a bit tough because he's digged such a deep hole for himself.
Yes.
Um, so it's definitely like I said, or like you said, it's definitely going to be tough for him to climb out of it. Um, and I hope he does because I'm rooting for Daniel personally.
Ooh.
But
I mean, it's hard
it's
not to. Like, it's a winner. It's hard not to root for him, man. It's Daniel. It's great.
yeah, exactly.
What's not to love?
Yeah, Daniel's great.
Yes.
I
So, yeah, you go first.
no, you can go.
Oh, okay. I was going to shift topics. So now jumping off of the perspective of Daniel and now going to Ginger and Lazy, do you think they made the right move by taking out Jack, or do you think it would have been better for them just to keep everyone happy and vote out Sparky?
I think probably voting out Jack could have been a good idea. I actually not could have. I think it was the good idea, the right idea, because if they kept Jack, I think Daniel would have become really, really powerful. And it obviously, if they went to tribal again, it would have tied 2-2 because, like me, like you've been referring to Jack as. He's just Daniel's extra vote. So it
Yes.
would have been a 2-2 vote, and uh or maybe they flip somebody, but Daniel would have been pretty much ensured safety.
And
Uh
yes, unless they decided obviously to vote for Jack to give Daniel that pressure to flip, wanting not to go to rocks. There's obviously stuff they could have done, but I don't think Ginger or Lazy would have flipped on each other. I think it would have either gone rocks or Daniel flipping on Jack,
yeah.
which I don't know if that would have happened. So it would have been, in my opinion, a crazy rocks tribal, which would be fun.
Yeah, it would have been fun, but it's also more fun to get an inactive out.
Oh yes, keep all the fun people in. Like Sparky is miles above where Jack was sitting at.
Yep.
Sparky actually was doing stuff in the game, making connections, giving confessionals. Sparky's great. They're
Yeah,
not
he
they're
really
not
is.
any of my front runners to win, but Sparky is definitely up. Sparky's playing a good game right now.
Yeah, and they're decently entertaining.
Yes, exactly. All they post so many cat photos. It's lovely. Yes. Okay. Just right before you go, is there any final things you want to say? I know you already said that you're rooting for Daniel to win, but is there anyone else you're rooting for? And then at the end of this, and then at the end of this episode, like after all this trial is done, who do you think gained power, lost power, and is maybe overplaying a bit, if anyone?
Um, okay, I'll start with that last part.
Sure
I
thing.
think, like you've said, Barnaby has lost power. Um, I think he had a lot more power, but now that he's kind of gained some enemies, I think he definitely has a lot less, and he could get voted out here.
Yes, after his blow up with Jordan, he lost some power there because before he had a strong connection with Jordan, and now there's blow up that's been severed or not completely severed, but it's definitely been it's not as strong as it once was. And then yeah,
Yeah. I'm not very tightly watching the Voda tribe, so I wouldn't know if anybody lost power there.
there's not really
Um,
any need to watch them. I don't think there's been any changes whatsoever. Um,
yeah,
not there's not been a lot of action going on. Yes,
yeah, and I think Daniel obviously lost some power with Jack
yes,
going there.
yes. Daniel
Um,
is probably the biggest loser this episode.
yep,
losing
definitely.
losing power and losing his extra vote slash alliance member slash Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel's in a tough spot. He was in a decent spot beforehand. If he just voted Jack with them, I think he could have still been in a decent spot, but he decided to try and save his ally, um, which I think could cost him the game here.
Yes, I think if obviously Daniel isn't playing this. If he was playing it 100% strategically, he may have just said, "Okay, fine, I'll cut my losses. I'll vote out Jack." But
Yeah,
Daniel's intention going into this game was to make Jack play this game, not make, but just he would play this game so that Jack could play it. So Daniel was willing to sacrifice his own strategic game to try and keep Jack in, which I don't know.
yeah.
It seems interesting. It's yeah.
I guess a W friend.
Yes, very W friends. Okay.
um,
You got anything else?
uh, I'll say some last things, I guess, like
Yeah.
who I'm rooting for on other tribes or whatever.
Yep.
Uh, just kind of due to preseason stuff, I'm rooting for Essence because we're sort of friends.
Okay.
Uh,
I think Essence is also probably another popular person to root for because in my opinion, they were overplaying the hell out of pre-merge, but somehow they haven't been voted out and they took out Michaela and now they're sitting in a pretty good spot with an alliance with Tara and Barnaby. Yes, I think Essence is definitely really good. Is there
yeah.
anyone else?
Um, I'm kind of rooting for Ginger here.
Ooh,
And Lazy. Lazy has really good confessionals, which I like. So
yes. Yes,
that's fun.
I think Lazy probably has the best confessionals. I don't
Oh,
know.
definitely,
I
definitely.
think he does because there's not that many amazing confessionals this season, but Lazy is one of them.
Yeah. Uh, I think Ginger's just kind of a fun guy, and I think he could do pretty good here.
Yes, I'm excited to see Ginger play later on. Yes, because once he starts actually fully developing his own game, like if he can, yes, I want to see him take control of vote and not follow around in essence or lazy though. I want him to take control and actually and do something. And if he does that, I'll be very excited to see it.
Yeah. Plus, him doing a decent job at playing along with being a pre-juror, I think that's pretty interesting that he could end up playing pretty good. It could be like a redemption arc or something.
Yes, and he also doesn't have the target that a lot of those bigger players have, but because he has a what I believe a 16th and an 18th place, no one's going to be looking him at, oh, look at that, such a big target, we need to take him out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the opposite of like Daniel or what Greenbite was.
Yes, it's the opposite of the Daniel Greenbite Michaela. Yes,
Yeah.
his placements will actually probably help him come merge, as opposed to if Daniel's still around come merge, people will be looking at him as a target, not only for what happened at this tribal, but just because of his placement as being a winner.
Yeah, exactly. I know I would target him.
Yes, I've played with him before, and I aligned with him. I think, yeah, I did. So I don't know, but I would probably. I don't know. That just obviously that's my gameplay. I like aligning with threats, but we're not here to talk about me. Yes, this is your guest star episode.
Well, I'm not contributing much, so it's
No,
whatever.
you are contributing a ton. This episode would be so boring if it was just me. You've contributed almost all the thoughts right now. I'm just directing it.
I don't know. I think you should explain some of your thoughts.
Explain some
Well,
of my thoughts. Ooh,
yeah, I think so.
it's what my thoughts on what?
Uh I'm not good at leading conversations like this.
Just in general, my thoughts of the episode.
Sure.
Okay, so okay, I guess I'm just gonna rant for a little bit. So sit tight, people. So I think beginning of the episode, the first thing that happened was the Jordan blow up with Barnaby, which I think that definitely that's how Jordan plays. It's a play style that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are definitely quite a few people that can do it. And it's not personally one that I enjoy and I don't think is that good. But if you can pull it off, then Jordan's in your face, confronting you about everything, not letting anyone go behind your back. If he can pull it off, I'll be impressed. And it obviously provides some amazing content. It's very fun to watch. It's not, in my opinion, it's not smart, but it's very fun. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree there. I like people I like people who blow up. Like uh I hate to compare it to actual Survivor seasons, but I would compare him to kind of like Carolyn from 44 here.
God, I haven't seen 44. I've seen up to 42.
Sorry, I will not spoil for you then.
That no, that is fine. Yes. I
Sorry,
but
sorry.
you can explain to the audience. Everyone else will get your reference. I just won't.
Oh, okay. Um, Carolyn was a very emotional player like Jordan is. Um, and she would kind of display her emotions and display her thoughts with her allies a lot. Like she would in the end game, she got actually maybe I shouldn't target
Yeah.
maybe I
Okay.
shouldn't
Wait.
say
Yeah.
that.
Because people listening may not know fully everything.
Yeah,
So
I'm not gonna say that.
Carolyn is a emotional player, just like Jordan, and we'll leave it at that.
Sorry for spoiling if you're watching this and haven't seen 44.
um. Exactly. Yes. Okay. Yes. And then okay, and back to Jack Tribal. I think another thing that hurt Jack was his performance in the challenge because
Yeah,
even though we couldn't see the challenge from the sound of everyone, it sounded a lot like Jack threw the challenge, not like intentionally threw, but that that Jack didn't read the rules and he was just costing them so many points. So I think that also definitely really hurt him.
yeah, definitely. Him not performing well definitely didn't help at all. Like his
Yes.
inactivity with not doing the challenge isn't very great.
Yes, everything piled up with with absolutely failing at the challenge, the inactivity, and then being just an extra vote for Dan. All of that piling up is the reason that he went home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I
Then
would have been,
there's you go. Yeah.
oh, sorry. I would have been surprised if he didn't go, honestly.
I would have as well, but it did get very close to being Sparky.
True.
Yes. I'm curious if if not Jack, if Daniel had approached that conversation a little differently, as opposed to being very aggressive and in your face with Ginger and Lazy, if he could have actually persuaded them to vote out Sparky. But instead, as soon as he found out that they were going for Jack, he started to get mad at him. He started trying to guilt trip him, and that didn't sit well with Lazy and Ginger, and that just solidified that they were going to vote for Jack.
Yeah, I definitely think it could have been flipped on the Sparky if he just had a different approach to it. I think in orgs, going about it aggressively is never the right way to do it.
Yes. I
Um,
think aggressive in your face stuff is only useful like that, or just calling people out is only really useful as like a last ditch effort. You want to try all other strategies before it, because those you can calculate and try to like, oh, how is this person going to react? But just saying like openly to everyone, just yelling at people, it's almost always going to have a negative result, and it's not always going to end up ending how you want it to.
yeah. Um, yeah, I would have to agree with that. Being aggressive is definitely probably the worst way to do it, and going like that right off the bat, like Daniel did, was is definitely not the greatest way to do it.
Yes.
And you should probably go about it calmly and explain the pros and cons of it first before getting all mad about it.
Yes. I think if he had done that, he would have had a chance to flip their votes on the Sparky. I don't think it would have been a really great chance, because Lazy was very adamant about that it would be best to vote out Jack. And it would have just been up to, is Daniel able to flip Ginger, is what it would come
Yeah.
down to. Because Lazy was almost 100% going to be voting Jack. It was just a battle between, does Lazy get Ginger's vote, or does Daniel get Ginger's vote?
Yeah. And the way Daniel went about it pretty much lost him the war or battle or whatever.
Yes, because it 100% allowed Lazy to be like, oh, look at how he's acting. He's trying to play on your emotions. It just gave Lazy so much fuel to make Ginger also mad at Daniel, to get Daniel to be on his side and mad at, no, not to get Ginger to be on Lazy's side and mad at Daniel and Jack.
Yeah. Uh,
Yes. All right. Well, so before you go, but obviously, first off, thank you for joining me. But before you go, do you have any final thoughts before I just let you go about your day? Just yes.
uh, I'm not sure that I do.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything to do. Yes, we
Yeah,
covered everything, and then we went even in depth and everything even more. So, yeah, thank you for all your input today, and hopefully we'll have you back on the podcast another time. Yeah.
thank you for having me. It was pretty fun. Uh, yeah, this was a pretty fun time. I hope to be back on the podcast sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm paying a little more attention to the season.
Yes, it may even be Shane hosting you then, not me.
Maybe.
just, just change up a host every time. But all right. Yes. Thank you for all your time. It's been great having you. And like you said, it was really fun. So thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, and thank you for being such a great host here. Um, and peace.
Yes.
Peace
Peace
out, I
out.
guess.
All right, he's gone. So once again, big thanks to JT for sharing all of his opinions. So I had a great time meeting him and had a blast recording with him. And I hope all of you listeners enjoyed listening. And if you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, I know it's cringe, whatever. I gotta say it. Basically have to. And well, we'll see you next time with what is turning out and looking up to be another incredible episode. It's really, there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So make sure you don't miss it. So that's all for now. Bye bye.